this is what we got going on right now. It's unfortunate, but if we can't get those roots out or we can't salvage that lateral, then that'll be a quick, bare minimum 10K clean off the bottom line. Like I said, prime example of unforeseen conditions. When we started cutting into this high side, more times than not, people get lazy. We do not operate off fixed schedule. Alrighty, we are here. Crawl space is now built. It makes every room feel a lot bigger. At 425, I'm looking at a 40% profit margin. That confidence comes from eliminating the variables, front loading my due diligence, which allows me to execute on clarity and not hope. Welcome back to the SiteOne series. My name is Corey Fields Jr. I'm a builder, investor, and developer, and I'm bringing you guys along with me as I take this deal from acquisition to close. All right, so we finally got all of our footings dug out, and now we are finally ready to go ahead and pour them and then start working on the block. Now, when the guys were doing this, they were telling me that this one was a little bit more difficult because of the amount of step downs and the amount of jogs. And, you know, this plan that we're using isn't really ideal for a crawl space due to the amount of jogs in it. You know, typically on a crawl space, or a plan that you're gonna do a crawl space on, normally it's just a box and you're just gonna have, it's just a straightforward box. But this one, it's got a ton of jogs in it, you know, all over the place. You know, it jogs back, you know, like 3 or 4 times on the right side and jogs back on the left side as well. So it's a lot going on over here for a crawl space. But anyway, one of the things I want to talk about was the fact that we moved the entire house over 7 feet. So over here, you see this stake right here. This was originally where the house was going to go. Property actually goes much further over, and then, you know, it's that house right next to us is probably, you know, less than 10 feet off of the property line. So once we saw that and saw that this pin right here, we knew that wasn't gonna work. So we went ahead and moved it over 7 feet. And what we're gonna have to do is, now that we moved it over 7 feet, we're gonna have to move this driveway basically to this right corner over here. And like originally, essentially the driveway would go in the same place as this, you know, this apron that was here before. But what it's gonna have to be is, it's gonna be right here, and that driveway can actually encroach in the setback, so there's no issues there. But that's where it's gonna be. It's pretty much gonna be right off that property line. Something else that I was thinking about was actually putting brick on the face of all the crawl space walls instead of your typical stucco, that just to give the house, you know, a better look, make it pop a bit more. But the question is, am I gonna get that money back? I don't know. But yeah, we're looking pretty good over here. Finally ready to get this thing poured. So we'll get this thing poured here in the morning, and then hopefully we can get that block started early next week. I don't know how the weather's looking. I think it's looking pretty rough. We'll see, but that's where we're at right now. Alrighty, we are here. Crawl space is now built, 16 yards, concrete for the footings, 1,000 blocks later, and here we are. We have crawl space built. Now, this is massive crawl space. It's super unfortunate that we couldn't do a basement because we wouldn't get the money back. But this lot is 100% a basement lot. And if we could do a basement on this lot, this would be a really big basement, really nice basement, 1,670 square feet, something like that. But we're ready to go. So we're gonna start framing this house tomorrow. Now today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday. We got all of our lumber here, and essentially this package is a duplicate of the house that we just built up the street. Same exact house, just flipped. The only difference is that this one was also figured for a floor system because we're sitting on a crawl space. Now the only thing that wasn't figured was the piers or the columns and the 2x6s for the step downs. So with these step downs, all of these step downs are gonna have to be framed up to this top block level right here. So all the 2x6s for the step downs were not figured because the step downs, we figured those out as we were building the crawl space. So, and that's another thing, you know, how this lot sits and the grade, that's not something we really could figure out beforehand. Definitely something that we had to see as the crawl space was getting built up to a certain level, and then we could figure out where we're gonna step it down based on the grade on both sides of the house. So we'll have to get 2x6s for all these walls, for all the step downs, and then also these piers in here, or these columns, I should say, each of these is going to have a 6x6 sitting on top of them. So those are the two things that were not figured in a lumber package, because it could not be figured until we pretty much figured out what we were going to do and how we were going to go about this crawl space. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the crawl space build and how we went about that. But yeah, we'll get started tomorrow and I'll show you guys what that looks like. All right, so we're framed, completely dried in, and I'm gonna show you guys what we got going on. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is a couple of the changes that we made while we were framed.
First one would be the wrap. Instead of cutting the wrapper tails at 16 inches, we cut at 12.
That way we didn't have to use 16-inch perforated soffit. Now, that 16-inch perforated soffit is about double the cost of 12-inch perforated soffit. And that overhang, that 4-inch difference, it isn't the biggest difference in the world. And it's not something that really anybody could tell just by looking at it. Like, oh, I can tell the overhang's not, it's 12, it's not 16. Nobody's going to say that. So it's not something that's going to affect the overall look of the house. So we saved a little bit of money there. And then the roof pitch. So the roof for this front porch, originally on the plan, it was laid out as a 2 and 12. If we had gone with a 2 and 12, then we had to do a metal roof. And the difference between metal roof and architectural shingles, that metal roof is about triple the cost, more than triple the cost of architectural shingles. So what we did was we bumped it up to a 4 and 12. That way we could just do a cohesive architect shingles throughout the entire roof and not have to do that metal roof. And not only that, with that metal roof, you know, driving up and down the street, like as you pull up to the house, you can't really even appreciate the metal roof because you won't be able to see it. That's another thing. Honestly, I think it looks better like how it is now. But that's pretty much it for the outside. And as far as the siding package went, we did a mix of board and batten and siding in the front, and then on the other 3 sides, just straight lap siding. So now coming inside, now that this plan is completely framed out, the space is huge. Now this entire house is 10-foot ceilings throughout, and in here, in this river per se, or where you got the living room, dining room, the kitchen, these ceilings vaulted. So it makes this space feel a lot bigger. Like I said, 10-foot ceilings throughout the entire house makes all the difference in the world, and that's a huge selling feature, right? It makes every room feel a lot bigger. So as far as that, you got the window packages. We did 306Os throughout. Pretty much every window is a 306O. The only difference is the 2 windows in the front. Those are 285Os? No, those 286Os. And then the 202Os, which we're still waiting on because they got back order, but it's no problem. They're going to come back and put them in and do the siding on that side. Be no big deal. But one of the other things I want to talk about was the 5050 ring gauge. So right here, we're in the master bathroom right now. And we got this big 5050 window right above the tub. And this is a pretty nice feature, right? You walk in here, this would be a standing tub, a standing shower, and then you got a water closet in there. Now, we also did the 5050 window over there in the kitchen, which will come over here and show you. Right, you're looking back here, everything will be fenced in when it's all said and done, and it's just a nice product view. So those are a couple of the features in this house. But as far as the kitchen goes, the nice solid cabinets, lowers, uppers, the island this way.
We got right here and see.
Basically, I'm gonna make the island as big as we can. So that's pretty much it as far as the inside. We got HVAC rubs, plumbing rubs, electrical rubs, everything is rough. That crawl space, it's a huge crawl space. So just coming down in here, walk into this crawl space. We got all the mechanicals down here. So The furnace is gonna be down here. The water heater is gonna be down here. There's gonna be nothing in the attic. Everything's gonna be down here because we got plenty of room, right? So from the top course over there to the bottom course over here, we got 12 feet. So basically standing right here, you know, I'm like 5'10". I got at least a good, you know, 8 feet above me or something like that, at least. But like I was saying, it's a huge crawl space, and that's another huge selling people love big crawl spaces. You got tons of storage in here. Now granted, if we could have done a basement, that would have doubled the square footage of this house, and this would have been a really nice basement. I keep saying that, it's a huge basement. Might as well call it a basement. You know, like going all the way over here, I can stand up just fine at the top over here. So it's like we got a lot of space under here. But yeah, like I was saying, big crawl space, huge selling point, and that's what we got. Now let's talk about what we got next, right? So next we gotta do is we gotta get these porches built. And the first thing in order to get these porches built is get everything backfilled. So if we would have backfilled after we got this crawl space done, and the reason we didn't, because there was a mix up with the lumber and got it delivered a little bit too early, but the original plan was to backfill right after the crawl space was built. That way we could build these porches immediately. So what we're gonna have to do now is get everything backfilled, and then we'll have to dig the footings for the porch, and then we can finally get it built. And that's the one thing that's holding us up. Another thing is staging all the drywall. I mean, this right here, it's not ideal for walking 150 sheets of drywall into the house. So we're probably gonna have to do something about this. Temp it up some kind of way when we get that drywall delivered, if we haven't got everything backfilled and the porches built, because we are gonna backfill tomorrow. But only question is, after we backfill, when can we get that porch at? But yeah, like I said, that's what we got going on over here. I haven't been doing the best job of documenting this series, I feel like, because this is one of 8 active projects that we got going on right now. It's kind of hard to really dial in on just one. You know, I got to be everywhere at once, essentially. But do my best. But this is what we got going on right now. So in the next video, I'll cover sheetrock. We got the cabinets in. We'll start working on tile, and that'll be that. So that is gonna be it for this video. If you guys been following along, hit that like button. If you're new here, subscribe. I'm documenting this build from start to finish, and I'll see you guys in the next one.